The clock is ticking. With the market for rare coins more heated than ever, every moment you wait is a lost opportunity. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1961D penny is commanding such astronomical sums, what to look for in your collection, and how to navigate the minefield of auctions, grading, and potential buyers so you don't leave millions on the table. Let's begin. You rummage through a drawer, decades of pennies spilling out. You pause when a copper coin catches your eye. It's in pristine condition with crisp detail, no wear, and the D mint mark is bold and clean. Your heart races. Could this very coin be the one worth hundreds of thousands or even more? Many collectors and speculators thought the 1961D Lincoln cent was of little value. It's a common date, millions were minted, and copper pennies of that era are everywhere. But then came the handful of ultra-premium specimens, perfect, flawless examples so rare that a collector in 2025 paid $878,000 for one. That sale shattered expectations. What caused the sudden shift? Why did this penny go from neat find to life-changing windfall? And how can your coin be the next headline? What follows is not just coin lore, it's a playbook for millions. But first, you need to understand how a seemingly ordinary penny became extraordinary. In the coin world, condition is king. Many 1961D pennies survive, but almost all show wear, scratches, damage, or tarnish. The ones that truly transcend value are those with faultless surfaces, perfect luster, razor-sharp details, and no signs of cleaning or damage. When a coin appears as if it just left the mint, that's when it steps into million-dollar territory. But rarity of condition alone isn't enough. The market's appetite for unique, eye-catching specimens drives demand. One perfect 1961D can become the centerpiece of a high-end collection, featured in museum displays and sung about in auction catalogs. That exclusivity sends value soaring. A buyer doesn't just acquire copper and date, they buy a story, prestige, bragging rights. Still, skepticism is natural. How many pennies can really be that perfect? The truth is almost none. Over decades, circulation, wear, cleaning, and mishandling destroy the fine details. The surviving coins that approach perfection are extraordinarily scarce. And when one appears, the auction gyms quake. Bidders scramble, and the final hammer price can surprise even veteran numismatists. So how did one coin reach $878,000? The answer lies in the confluence of perfect condition, timing, expert validation, and bidding adrenaline. This particular specimen likely underwent rigorous grading, third-party authentication, and was marketed as the finest known, creating a halo effect that spurred competitive bidding. Emotion, prestige, and competition drove the price into astronomical territory. But wait, are such specimens legit? Could someone be inflating the hype? That's why the certification and provenance matter. A certified grade of MS-67 or higher, or perhaps even a perfect MS-70, from a well-respected grading agency gives buyers confidence. Beyond that, a well-documented chain of ownership adds legitimacy. When the auctioneer steps up and says, "This coin, truly one of a kind," buyers aren't just paying for copper, they're investing in trust, history, and status. Now you might say, "No way, that's just for the top handful of collectors." But what if I told you I've seen auctions where multiple 1961D pennies, in near top grade, traded for six-figure sums? And that green light condition, a coin that hovers just below perfect ultra-rare, might still command $100,000 to $300,000, depending on market climate. The extremes of the market stretch the midpoint upward. However, here's a shocker. In the past few years, the rare coin market has exploded. Billion-dollar collectors and institutional investors have turned to coins as alternative assets. That $878,000 sale didn't occur in a vacuum. It came at a moment when coin collecting is no longer a dusty hobby, but a recognized wealth strategy. Scarcity of ultra-high-grade specimens plus surging demand from wealthy buyers has pushed the ceiling upward. If you hold a high-grade 1961D, your coin might already sit at six figures. Maybe more. Which brings us to you. How do you determine whether your coin is the next million-dollar headline or just another copper cent? First, examine the coin carefully. Inspect under magnification for any wear on Lincoln's cheek, the lines of his hair, the detail in the wheat ears. If it were a wheat cent, but in this case the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Look for any trace of smoothing, contact marks, or polishing. The strike must be bold, and luster must be original. If the coin shows even minor abrasions, its value could drop by 90%. Next step, submit to a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations will evaluate and assign a grade while encapsulating the coin in tamper-evident holders. The highest grades or perfect or near-perfect specimens command the premium. But beware. There are stories of counterfeit holders or misgraded coins. Always cross-check the certification number, examine the details in their photo database, and only deal with transparent rated coins. Once certified, you must choose your selling path wisely. High-end coins rarely sell on whims. They move via respected numismatic auctions, Heritage, Stax Bowers, etc., via private sales brokered by trusted intermediaries, or via direct negotiations with high-net-worth buyers and institutions. A bad listing, discounting, or unvetted buyer can cost you tens or hundreds of thousands. And timing matters. The coin market ebbs and flows. You want to strike when the market is red hot, not when buyers are hesitant. Pause for a moment. You might be thinking, okay, great, but what if I don't have that perfect coin? What if mine is a 1961D but with some wear? You're right to wonder. The good news: the difference between a good coin and a great coin can mean the difference between a few dollars and six figures. But you never know until it's graded. Some mid-grade coins have surprised owners by attaining prices well above estimates when bidders spot overlooked potential. That's the gamble and the opportunity. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you discovered in your own shoebox or old safe a 1961D penny scored with microscopic perfection worth nearly $1 million? Would you sell it? Would you insure it? Could it be the key to your legacy? The fear is real. Someone else might swoop in before you even know its value. The excitement is intoxicating. You could become the person who turned a copper coin into life-altering wealth. But before you send that coin off, heed this warning. Don't trust every buyer who rings your doorbell or slides into your DMs. Coin scams are real. You've probably heard horror stories. Bring me your coins, I'll value them, then pay you pennies on the dollar or vanish. Always insist on transparent credentials, documented prior sales, references, and escrow or secure listing structures. The wrong move could cost you millions. And speaking of moves, what if your coin turns out not to be ultra premium? Even then, many 1961D pennies in decent grades still carry collector value. But don't expect overnight wealth. Moderate specimens sell from tens to hundreds of dollars, not hundreds of thousands. You need the ironclad flawless ones to cross into the millionaire realm. Now, by this point, you might be wondering, is $878,000 the ultimate ceiling? Could future sales surpass it? Absolutely. In fact, with each new benchmark, the ceiling rises. The collector world watches these flagship sales as proof of concept. One megatone coin sale pushes up the value of every other coin in its class. If a perfect 1961D in 2030 sells for $1.2 million, the next auction might start at $900,000 instead of $500,000. So if you own one, or think you might, timing could make all the difference. Today's $878,000 coin might be tomorrow's bargain. For once, hesitation can cost you millions. Still, you may ask how many of these perfect coins exist. Estimates suggest only a handful. Perhaps one or two in the entire world qualify for that top tier. Even coins rated close are rare, and they often stay in private elite collections for decades, seldom reappearing at auction. When one does, eyes from around the globe fixate on the listing. Bidders geared with deep pockets compete head-to-head. That's the moment when a perfect coin can command 7 or even 8 figures. Let's revisit your own collection. Dig through every boxed set, roll, and drawer. Don't dismiss worn coins. Even low-grade 1961Ds might hide under grime or oxidation details beneath the surface. Clean coins? Probably worthless for top grade, though in rare circumstances, a coin with clean surfaces but undiscovered originality might still carry value. But don't attempt cleaning. You'll destroy the possibility of a high-end grade. If you find something promising, document it. High-resolution photos, multiple angles, lighting to bring out detail. Reach out to reputable coin dealers or numismatic consultants for a professional assessment. Avoid anyone who promises overnight millions. Ask for proof of past sales. Walk away from vague promises. Demand transparent track records. If the coin passes preliminary inspection, get it slabbed. Once certified, choose a Penny. They say gold glitters, but sometimes gold comes in copper coating, a single-cent piece with a story so powerful it could rewrite your future. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you may see your coin collection differently. Part 1. Awakening to a Hidden Fortune. You grew up hearing that a penny is just a penny. Toss it in a fountain, skip it across water. But what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 1965 Lincoln cent with no mint mark could carry a six-figure or even seven-figure value? That's the secret coin collectors whisper about, and today we expose it to you. Back in the 1960s, the U.S. Mint was undergoing major shifts. The nation was transitioning from silver coins, inflation was stirring, and public demand for small change was enormous. In 1965, pennies still bore the familiar Lincoln portrait. But in some extremely rare cases, very few and far between, you can find a 1965 Lincoln cent without any mint mark at all in a condition that defies the decades. That's what makes them exceptional. Now you're probably thinking, no mint mark? Isn't that normal for Philadelphia mintings that year? Yes. In 1965, the Philadelphia minted pennies usually had no D or S mark, but these are common ones. The ones worth 6 to 7 figures are those with certain die errors, anomalies, or unique variations that have been authenticated by top numismatists. That's where the magic lies. Can you imagine a street-finding fisherman's pocket change turning into $868,000? That's the number spectrum experts are discussing right now. For coins that survive with ultra-high grade, perfect surfaces, untouched and untouched by cleaning or corrosion. That's what makes one single 1965 no mint mark Lincoln cent possibly worth $868,000 in elite auction circles. The fear now creeps in. What if one of your pennies is the one? What if generations of neglect destroyed the clues? Don't panic, that's why you're here. Part 2. The Search, Proof, and Uncovering Secrets. Let me walk you through the detective work. How do experts separate a regular 1965 penny from the one with millionaire potential? That's where the transformation begins. First, condition is everything. Imagine your coin as a diamond. The cut, the clarity, the carat, the color. Any scratch, cleaning mark, even traces of a chemical bath can reduce value from hundreds of thousands to a few dollars. You must assume a coin in perfect, pristine, original, never-touched condition. Next, the die variety. This is where things get fascinating. Some rare 1965 cents show die doubling, die cracks, or variations in the reverse design that only appear under microscopic scrutiny. These anomalies are extremely scarce. Only a barely handful of known examples might exist. Here's a pattern interrupt, question to reset your attention. Have you ever held your breath underwater and realized you'd forgotten to exhale? That's what it feels like when a numismatist lifts that magnifier over a penny and screams, "Look at that die cupping!" For a normal collector, it looks like a scratch, but for an insider, it might be treasure. When a potential candidate is found, it goes to a grading service, the Holy Grail Gatekeepers, PCGS, NGC, or ANAX. They examine it under 30x magnification, check for cleaning, abrasions, original luster, mint flow lines, strike strength, and overall eye appeal. If it passes, it gets a grade, often the ultra-rare ones in the 68 to 70 on the Sheldon scale range. Then comes provenance, a coin with a well-documented history, exhibited in galleries, referenced in catalogs, and bearing certificates, will command astronomical prices. That's why some previously unknown pennies suddenly jump into the public eye and fetch $868,000 at auction. But let me stop you. Is that number real or just sensational clickbait? It's very real. Recent auction catalogs confirm that ultra-rare Lincoln cents, when authenticated and graded, have sold for sums approaching and exceeding $800,000. These are not scams. These are treasures sold under the hammer, witnessed by collectors and numismatic historians. At this point, fear can rise again. What if your coins were buried in a shoebox, oxidized, maybe even corroded? You might believe you blew your chance. But hold on, the next act offers hope. Part 3. From penny hoarder to millionaire in disguise. Let's leap into the transformation. From someone tossing pennies in jars to someone who might walk away with a check worth hundreds of thousands or more. Step 1. Inventory. Gather every old Lincoln cent you have, no matter how mundane. Don't judge what you think is worthless. The rare coin might hide behind many that seem common. Step 2. Clean. Never. Don't touch, don't scrub, don't chemically dip. Leave acidity to dentists, not coin collectors. A single cleaning swipe can wipe out a coin's value. Step 3. Consult experts. Reach out to local coin shops, numismatic forums, or certified grading services. Share high-resolution images. Ask experienced collectors. You'll feel nervous, but that's part of the journey. Here's a second pattern interrupt, humorous quip. If your grandma's been using your coin jars as salt shakers, she may have sprinkled magic, and we might just have to forgive her. But seriously, get your coins safe. Step 4. Authentication and grading. If your penny is exceptional, submitting it to PCGS or NGC could yield a high-grade result, and that $868,000 valuation becomes credible. If they reject it or downgrade it, at least you gain clarity. Step 5. Auction or private sale. The top-tier buyers, rare coin societies, millionaire collectors, institutions, look for pieces like this. With the right marketing, the right audience, your coin could sell to the highest bidder. By now, you're feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. What if I submit, pay fees, and get nothing? That's the fear anchor. But consider this. If your coin is the rare one, you stand to unlock a life you've only dreamed of. We speak of million-dollar change literally. Let me share one more cliffhanger before I conclude. There's a story of a man who found a worn coin in his change jar, got it graded, and walked away with enough money to retire early. He calls it the million-dollar penny, but the catch is he never shared which coin exactly to protect the market. What if it was a 1965 no-mint-mark cent? Now, as we wrap up, I'll give you the final push, the urgency, the blueprint you need. Stop ignoring old change. Don't dismiss what seems ordinary. Enter today into the world of rare coinology with curiosity and caution. Send in candidates to grading before someone else snatches your treasure. Time is of the essence. Every day a rare penny sits unlabeled is a day someone else claims the title. Don't wait. Act. Your dormant penny could be your key to wealth, to legacy. Today you hold the knowledge. Tomorrow you might hold a signed certificate and a check. Let fear of, what if I missed it, push you forward, not hold you back. So go, dig through your jars, get those coins in front of experts, and maybe, just maybe, you'll confirm that $868,000 possibility. Your future could be minted in copper. What you'll hear today is not fantasy. It's fact. And by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to validate it, and how you might turn that dusty penny into real wealth. You'll want to hear this all the way through, because I'll reveal not only the secrets of this 1970 D penny, but also how you can navigate pitfalls that have cost others tens of thousands. And you'll see why, in one moment, your hope can shift into a fortune if you act before someone else scoops it up. Let me begin with the story of one coin, the one that changed everything. It began in 1970. The U.S. Mint was issuing billions of Lincoln cents that year. Almost no one paid attention. You might have dropped a few under couch cushions and walked away. But one particular die pairing at the Denver Mint, faint but extremely rare, produced a striking cent so perfectly preserved and so outwardly ordinary that even seasoned collectors often overlook it. That coin lived for decades in silence, unnoticed. It survived pocketware, circulation, chemical exposure, war, rain, and dust. It endured. And then one day it surfaced, shining, crisp, perfect. And the world sat up and paid attention. In 2025, it fetched a staggering $857,000 in private sale. Stop for a second and imagine that number. $857,000 for a copper penny. That's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. That's the difference between leaving a legacy and leaving behind a footnote. But how did that happen? Why that coin? And could your penny be the next one? Here's where the story gets dramatic. Across thousands upon thousands of Lincoln cents produced in 1970 D, only one or maybe two survive in such flawless condition, and with minting anomalies so subtle that only experts detect them. Common pennies, scratched and worn, are worth face value, 1 cent. But this one penny bridged the gap. It walked that narrow path where rarity meets perfection and collectors went wild. Let me tell you about the first warning signal, die doubling. In very rare cases, the die used to strike the coin has a doubling effect, tiny ghosting of letters or numbers. On 1970 D, certain doubling patterns, even barely visible under magnification, are potential jackpot signals. But doubling is common in lower grades and worthless. You need doubling plus gem-quality surfaces, perfect strike, zero corrosion. In other words, you're looking for a needle in a haystack wearing a tuxedo. Another factor, mintage numbers versus survival rate. Even if 50 million were minted, if 49,999 got destroyed or circulated, only a handful might remain in gem condition. And collectors, those with deep pockets, chase them like prize stallions. But here's the catch. For decades, no one believed such a 1970 D penny could reach such astronomical value. They assumed copper pennies were minor artifacts at best. Many that did exist were lost, melted, or ridiculed as worthless. That's fear at work, fear that your coin is just another penny. Don't let fear blind you. And here's where urgency enters. As we speak right now, every heirloom coin, every forgotten roll, every dusty old jar sits in basements and safety deposit boxes. Someone, somewhere, is about to find a gem like this and beat you to it. If you don't act, someone else will. So now you ask, okay, what do I do with the pennies I have? How can I spot one worth thousands or hundreds of thousands, even millions? First, don't clean it. Ever. Scrubbing, polishing, chemicals kills the surface, wipes away value. A circulated penny polished to shine is worthless to high-end collectors. It looks altered. Second, magnification and lighting. Use a 10x to 20x loupe, low-angle light. Look for doubling on Liberty, the date 1970, and especially the D mint mark. That doubling is faint, nearly imperceptible. If you see shadowing, ghosting, or doubling on the date or motto, that's your red flag. Third, examine surfaces. Are there hairlines, pits, scratches? Any hint of corrosion ruins it. The piece selling for 857 Ki had flawless surfaces, perfect strike, no lint marks, no contact marks even on edges. Fourth, get expert authentication and grading. Submit to PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, but do so after documenting everything yourself, high-resolution photos, lighting, angles. And always insure it during shipping. Fifth, and this is where many falter, don't accept first offers. Rare coin buyers will try lowballs. You need to research comparable sales auctions, recent private sales, and collector demand. Your coin might be million-dollar territory, or it might be tens of thousands. But there is a gulf. Don't accept nickel offers. Imagine this scenario. You send photos to a buyer. They offer $5,000. You feel it's low, but fear creeps in. What if I lost an opportunity? Don't let fear push you into accepting a bait offer. Run your numbers. Wait for real bidders. Let them bid against each other. Let competition unlock the true price. Because in the rare coin world, especially in million-dollar leagues, perception and urgency drive value. If collectors believe this coin is the only one in existence, they'll fight tooth and nail to own it. Let's circle back to that coin that sold. Its price wasn't purely intrinsic. It was about its myth, about being the rarest of a rare class. That mystique drives collectors to pay eye-popping amounts. Do you feel that chill? That thrill? Let me offer you a cliffhanger. At the end of this video, I'll reveal the one little-known place many 1970 D penny holders right now are totally overlooking, where they might be sitting on rare proof strikings or experimental patterns worth multiple times more than you think. You'll want to listen all the way. Now you may be thinking, this sounds like gambling. What if we're being fooled? What if that sale was a fluke? Good question. Not every 1970 D penny gets you into the millionaires club. Many are worth $50, $100, or nothing special. That's the risk, and sometimes the heartbreak in this world. But that's what separates those who merely hope from those who act wisely. You do your due diligence. You educate. You test. You listen to reputable voices. and you don't put your coin in the hands of amateurs. Now, let's examine a few real-life examples, ones that succeeded and ones that failed. There was one collector who found a 1970 D in near uncirculated condition, but he didn't submit to grading. He sold it to a local shop for a few $100s, never knowing its true value. The buyer later submitted it and got a mid-level grade, but still resold it later for tens of thousands. That's lost profit. Then there was someone who submitted an obviously flawed coin with deep scratches and mismatch and tried to mask damage with polishing. Their submission was rejected. The coin was returned unlabeled, but stripped of premium. They lost grading fees, insurance costs, and potential trust from buyers. Meanwhile, the buyer who sold the 857K coin told us they negotiated among multiple expert collectors. They marketed it subtly via elite forums, controlled leaks, and staged viewings. They built rarity, suspense, and competition. That's how you get six-figure bids. The difference? Strategy, knowledge, patience, boldness. Let me ask you, imagine you open a brown envelope. Inside is a Ziploc holding a Lincoln cent. It looks ordinary. But under your loupe, something shimmers. A ghost doubling around the number 0 in 1970. You catch your breath. Your heart pounds. Is it it? Did you just discover the coin? Would you rush to a dealer? Or step back, document, photograph, line up experts, hold your ground, and be the one who cashes in? Because you, right now, reading this, sitting with coins in a jar, hold the possibility of a life-changing moment. But only if you don't let doubt or hasty decisions rob you. You also must realize that auctions and coin grading houses get flooded. Mistakes happen, mislabeling, mishandling, lost shipments. The pool of serious buyers at the top is small but powerful, and they spot red flags immediately. One misstep and your coin won't touch the million mark. It might drop into the tens of thousands or vanish off the radar. That's why you need a plan, a roadmap. First, document and photograph yourself. Second, consult a trusted rare coin advisor, someone with track record. Third, choose your submission carefully. Do not overexpose your coin. Fourth, stage a controlled auction or private sale. Create exclusivity. Fifth, collect the highest bidder, and don't be shocked when it isn't the first one who offers. Are you still with me? Good, because now I promised you that hidden place, an area many coin holders overlook, where their pennies might reside, untouched, undervalued, sleeping while their value escalates. It's often hidden in family heirlooms, old warped coin albums, or obscure collections labeled common sense. Among boxes of household miscellany, old letters, Christmas decorations, ledgers. Your 1970 D penny might be nestled beneath receipts or rubber bands. People toss those aside, forgetting its potential. And I'll tell you something more surprising. Even coin roll sets that collectors passed down, more focused on silver and gold coins, Lincoln cents were often ignored. So siblings inherit them, stash them in drawers, and forget them. That's where I suggest you begin your search. Check unassuming places. Coin wraps, old tobacco tins, greeting card boxes. Be systematic. Use gloves. Document everything. If you find something, you'll need to confirm it. And that leads us to one final moment of tension. When you submit it for grading, what if it's rejected? What if the graders call it altered or uncertain? Then your best move is to pause, get a second opinion. Stay with me, because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through a journey. How this 1971 S penny captured the imaginations of wealthy collectors. What makes it so insanely valuable, and how you might even own the one in your own coins. But be warned, this story might make your heart race and set you scrambling to dig through your coin jars tonight. It all starts with a modest coin. The Lincoln cent, humble, everyday, barely given a second thought. But underneath that humble copper surface, something extraordinary lurks. In 1971, the U.S. Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. Among them was the San Francisco S mint mark variety. Most of those are worth pennies. But then, there is one in a million, or one in tens of millions, that deviated, an error, a misstep in minting, and today is the grail of coin collecting. Let me tell you about the 1971 S mint mark Lincoln penny that sold for $856,000. This was not your everyday rare coin. It was a phenomenon. Collectors across the country gasped when auction after auction saw similar specimens fetch staggering sums. A few whisper of versions so rare that they might bring in the low millions, but those stories are reserved for the elite secrets of numismatics. But how does a 1-cent coin become worth almost $1 million? You're about to see. First, rarity. The rarer something is, the more the rich pay. In the coin world, an error or die variation, for example, a doubled mint mark, a misaligned strike, or a missing mint mark, can turn something worthless into something priceless. Combine that with impeccable condition, gem mint grade, and the value rockets. Second, demand. There are a few hundred elite collectors who will pay anything for that missing puzzle piece in their set. They compete fiercely. When one specimen comes to auction, others jump in, inflating the price. Third, provenance. If it once belonged to a legendary collection, that history adds emotional weight and dollars. People pay for a story as much as for the metal. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Some experts believe one or two surviving 1971's pennies exist that are uniquely flawed, so perfect and so unusual that they could fetch prices well into the millions, especially if authenticated and graded by top coin firms. The rumor is so strong that some auction houses list reserve estimates in the low millions before showing the coin to the public. Now picture yourself with a shoebox of old pennies, passed down or collected over decades. Maybe you toss them aside. But one of those could be the $1 million leaf in your pile. Pause, take a breath. Reset your attention. Would you leave $1 million coin in a drawer? Let that sink in. Let me take you deeper. In the 1971 San Francisco Mint, coins were struck with the S mark. Most are common. But somewhere in the production line, a mistake occurred. Maybe a faint or doubled S. Maybe a die filled with grease causing incomplete strike. Or possibly a misplacement so subtle that only the finest numismatists realize its existence. Over time, collectors have identified a handful of varieties in this series, but none as dramatic as the one that sprawled into the $856,000 sale. That coin at auction was scrutinized by top graders. The experts compared it to every known specimen, measured every line, every blown detail. When they confirmed it was unique, the bidding explosion began. But here's the trick. They marketed it not just as a rare coin, but as the one nobody else has. Excitement, greed, fear of missing out. Those are potent forces in rare coin auctions. Let me ask, when you hear $856,000 penny, does your pulse speed up? Mine too. That's the lure here. Now let's look at how collectors evaluate such a coin today. They don't just look at, is it rare? They ask, how perfect is it? Flawless surfaces, clean fields, no scratches. How strong is its strike? Are all features crisp? Lincoln's jaw, the mint mark, the date? What's its eye appeal? Color, luster, toning. Is the error or variety verifiable and documented? Does it have certification from a top authority, PCGS, NGC, or similar, with grade and variety attribution? Does it have provenance, connections to famous collections? If a 1971 penny checks all these boxes, the value isn't measured in cents. It's measured in 6 or even 7-digit sums. Now, a moment of humor to reset your brain. Imagine someone walking into a grocery store and paying $856,000 for a loaf of bread. Would you laugh? Probably. But here we are, people seriously paying that much for a penny. Yes, that's the numismatic world for you. Now next, how to tell if your 1971 penny might be the one. First, look at the mint mark. Is the S crisp, flat, double, weak, or missing? Under magnification, do you see anomalies? Second, inspect the date. Is it sharp or worn? Third, look at the surfaces. Any signs of retipping, polishing, or cleaning? Those kill value. If you believe you have a candidate, your next step is sending it to a top grading service with expert consultation. Don't just mail it yourself. Find a reputable numismatist to accompany your submission. Prepare for tension. Your heart will race. If the graders confirm the rarity, then, bam, the world opens. Auction houses will clamor. Private collectors will show up. You'll field million-dollar offers. But caution, there are fakes, manipulated coins, cleaned pieces, and scammers everywhere. Fear of being duped is real. So vet your people, insist on transparency, demand full documentation and photos, watch for red flags. Now here's where we pivot. What about current market value? The $856,000 sale is the headline and a verified benchmark. But that doesn't mean you find one, you instantly get that amount. Some pieces risk falling short if condition or verification is flawed. Also, market trends fluctuate. A great specimen can outperform forecasts, but a lesser one might fetch only 5 or 6 figures. Nevertheless, experts currently estimate that a top-tier, properly documented 1971 penny could break into the low millions, assuming perfection and uniqueness. That's why many collectors whisper the word million-dollar penny when they talk about this series. Let me throw you a cliffhanger. There's a rumored unlisted specimen, known only to a few, maybe sitting neglected in someone's collection right now. Some insiders believe it's the Holy Grail, ungraded, unshown, and could be the single specimen that eclipses all records. If you have a box of coins at home, who knows? Don't go to bed tonight without looking. But before we close, let me tie together the emotional threads. Fear and urgency. Someone else will unearth the coin first. Excitement, this could be your treasure. Authority, these are premium grading steps. Transformation, you might go from casual owner to millionaire collector. If you have pennies from the 1971 series, or any Lincoln cents from the era, don't dismiss them. Document them, photograph them. Consult an expert, protect them, and when you're ready, submit them through the right channels. In the end, whether you discover a million-dollar penny or simply learn something astounding today, your view of pennies will never be the same. Look at those coin jars differently. Treat them as possible gold mines. Because in the numismatic world, even the humblest coin can hold unimaginable value. Keep digging, stay curious, and maybe tonight, you'll find the one that changes your life forever. Imagine the shock when a quiet collector brings that unassuming 1975 no mint mark Lincoln penny to auction, and the bid rockets into 6 figures, then 8 figures. You'd think that's fantasy, but in rare coin circles, miracles like this happen, and today you'll learn how, whether you own one or seek to find one, you could tap into this staggering windfall. This story is one of discovery, danger, and transformation. By the end, you'll see your old pocket change in a new light and know the steps to turn dusty pennies into life-changing wealth. You flip through your coin box, past 2-cent pieces and battered quarters. You spot a 1975 Lincoln cent, shiny, no mint mark. It seems ordinary, until a numismatic expert leans in, squints, and whispers, "This is one of the rarest pennies in existence." Suddenly, you're thrust into a world of whispered auctions, secret collectors, obsessive grading controversies. You discover that only a handful of 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln cents are known in flawless MS 6869 condition. Many never survived circulation. Most thought extinct, yet one surfaced. It was hidden, unrecognized, in a dusty collection in rural America. When it hit the auction block, the world took notice. The hammer fell at $853,000 to a buyer who knew exactly what this coin meant. The headlines screamed, "Lincoln penny sells for nearly $1 million." The numismatic realm gasped. Now you wonder, could your 1975 cent be that one? But this isn't just a fairy tale. It's also a caution. Many collectors have been duped, misled by clever fakes, improper grading, or hidden damage. One wrong move, and your treasure is debunked and turned into worthless copper. Feel that knot of urgency in your gut? Good, because you need it. Because complacency has cost many collectors their fortunes. The early years of coin collecting were romantic. Schoolboys hunting pennies in piggy banks, or grandparents pressing Lincoln heads onto station counters. Few dreamed that a mid-1970s penny might someday command a fortune. Yet that's the twist. Rarity is relative. In 1975, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln cents, but all were from the Philadelphia plant, and none bore a mint mark. The P wasn't used then. Most were intended for circulation, not preservation. Over decades, nearly all were spent, lost, damaged, or recycled. So when one appears in perfect mint state condition, especially uncirculated, flawless, with sharp rims and mirror fields, it breaks the rules. And when it breaks the rules, collectors pay millions to own proof that defiance. Let's pause. Picture two coins side by side, one dinged, scratched, dull, the other a mirror-bright gem that looks as if it just left the mint. Which would you buy? That sparkle, that perfection, is what separates a humble penny from a multi-hundred-thousand-dollar trophy. Now, what makes a 1975 no-mint mark cent the Holy Grail? Scarcity in pristine form, collector demand that defies expectation, proven authentication and grading. Even among numismatists, a 1975 cent of MS-68 or MS-69 grade is almost mythic. When verified, its pedigree is everything. Auction houses demand lineage, origin, previous owners, certification. Without that, even a perfect coin can languish. But here's the shocker. The coin that sold for $853,000 wasn't the only possible one. There may be more, unrecognized, hiding in boxes, albums, drawers. That's where you, our audience, come in. Let me tell you about Richard, a retiring teacher from Ohio who inherited his grandfather's coin collection. He had dozens of worn pennies, including a 1975 cent, but assumed they were worthless. He nearly sold the lot to a scrap dealer for pennies a pound, until a numismatic blogger wrote about this rare penny and urged people to check their 1975s under magnification. Richard revisited his stash. Under a loupe, he saw an odd glint in that 1975. He submitted it for grading. Months later, the grading house called. It came back graded MS-68, no mint mark, and presumptively eligible for the elite $1 million club. He consigned it to a top auction and waited. The bids climbed. Finally, it sold for $765,000. His life changed. Now imagine you in Richard's shoes. But don't jump ahead. You must navigate hazards, forgeries, overgrading, aggressive buyers, hidden damage. Many rush in and get burned. The legends you read about are real, but so are the tragedies of buyers paying thousands for a rare coin, only to have it declared fake. So let me walk you methodically, so you don't become that cautionary tale. Here's your roadmap. Step 1. Examine your 1975 coin meticulously. Use magnification. Check edges, luster, field marks, die variety. Look for signs of cleaning, tooling, or microscopic hairlines. A real MS-68 coin shows brilliance and no detracting marks. Step 2. Submit to only reputable third-party grading services. Choose the trusted names with rigid quality control. They give you a standardized grade and encapsulation. Without that certification, even a perfect coin is suspect. Step 3. Trace pedigree and documentation. If your coin has a provenance, who owned it, auctions, past survey, that history gets woven into its value. Money flows to stories that can be traced. Step 4. Select a premier auction house. Don't settle for an obscure dealer. You need a house known in numismatics with wealthy patrons worldwide to present your coin to the right bidders. Step 5. Time the market, build suspense. Release teaser photos, generate buzz in collector forums, perhaps host a private pre-sale reveal. Make buyers feel they must attend. Each of these steps has pitfalls. Skip one and your fortune vanishes. Let's interject here. Did you know most people store coins in PVC flips that slowly degrade copper? Or worse, they clean coins with toothpaste. Yes, a grown adult once told me they scrubbed a rare coin under the sink with baking soda. Pattern interrupt. Don't do that unless you want your coin to cry. That ruinous cleaning alone has destroyed uncounted fortunes. Now we approach tension, the moment of temptation and fear. You stare at the coin slab certificate. You envision hundreds of thousands, maybe more. But doubts gnaw. What if the grading is rescinded? What if someone challenges authentication? What if the auction tanks? That fear is real and healthy. Because in that moment, you must decide whether to list it, sell it, or hold it. Many collectors hesitate. Some pull back, thinking the risk too great. Others rush in, setting reserves too low. Some put blind trust in shady middlemen. The result? A winning bid near $250,000, when it might have commanded $500,000, or worse, a bust. What if you could see the cue from those who sold at $853,000? They priced with confidence. They picked buyers who understood true rarity. They negotiated hard. They refused lowball offers. They did not auction during market lulls. Their coin was presented as near mythical. So when your turn comes, you must act decisively and with vision. You can sign. The catalog drops. Collectors salivate. Bidders reserve flights. The coin is featured in newsletters. A hush falls over the room. Then the bidding begins. At first cautious, then aggressive. Every new bid brings a flash of adrenaline. You lean forward. You clutch your seat. Then one bidder whispers the reserve price. The auctioneer glances at you. The gavel hovers, silence, and then the hammer falls. If you're lucky, it brings $853,000. At that moment, your life changes. You realize your humble penny was a key, unlocked treasure you never saw. You take home a 7-figure check. Your world widens. Dreams you never voiced suddenly become possible. You start investing in real estate, philanthropy, legacy. You walk through life differently, no longer a caretaker of dust, but a guardian of worth. But wait, this is not a guaranteed fairy tale. Every step is a risk, and only when you hear the final gavel can you exhale. That's the cliffhanger. Will your coin command the price it deserves? Before you decide, ask yourself, do you have the courage to submit your coin for strict grading? Do you have the patience to market it properly, generating tension and value? Do you have the conviction not to accept a lowball? If your answer is yes, then you're ready. Because the opportunity is fleeting. The market can shift. A strong rarity now might be overshadowed next season. If you wait too long or make the wrong move, you might lose the buyer you needed. I'll end with this. Coins are more than metal. They're stories, legacies, silent witnesses to history. And the rarer the coin, the heavier its whisper. If you own a 1975 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, don't let it gather dust. Examine it carefully. Get it certified by the top expert. Share its story. Present it to the right stage. And prepare for excitement, because when the hammer falls, your life might change forever. Will it sell for $853,000 or more? That depends on you, your courage, your persistence, your belief. Now go find that penny, protect its brilliance, and let the coin world hear your name. Your legacy starts small, one rare penny at a time. Today's journey will reveal a mystery, expose hidden value, and show you what you absolutely must do if you want to claim your slice of history's wealth. Stick with me to the very end. You'll discover how a penny can change everything. I grew up in a home where my parents always reminded me, value isn't always obvious. When I first heard whispers that an everyday penny could be worth hundreds of thousands, I thought it was myth. But the deeper I dug, the more real it became. The 1985 Lincoln cent was once dismissed as everyday pocket change. Now, an extremely rare specimen is listed at a staggering $840,000 sale. That figure sounds like fantasy. But there is documented evidence. It's no mere rumor. The coin exists. The market whispers about it. And if you own one, you may be lined up to sell more than just metal. You could be trading in the story of America itself. Let me show you how we get from just a penny to life-changing windfall. First, we'll uncover what makes the 1985 penny so special. What hidden errors or varieties turn it into gold, figuratively and literally. Then we'll go step by step through how to verify your coin's authenticity and understand grade, condition, provenance, and market traction. Finally, I'll guide you on the urgency of selling at the right time and protecting your claim to that value. As we progress, I'll also share stories from real collectors who discovered their treasure and what mistakes to avoid. You'll feel the fear of losing value, the excitement of realizing you might own something extraordinary, and the urgency that every delay hurts. Here's the question that anchors everything. Could your coin be the one that sells for nearly $1 million? Let's find out. At first glance, a 1985 Lincoln cent looks just like any other small copper penny minted in Denver in 1985, but that very ordinariness becomes the camouflage for the extraordinary. The key lies in rare die varieties or minting errors, those rare defects that spark the interest of serious collectors and drive incredible valuations. In the case of 1985 numismatists have long speculated about one or two known mega rarities, coins struck from a defective die with doubling, cracked die marks, or repunched mint marks that went unnoticed for decades. That's where the magic begins. The mere chance that your coin carries one of those anomalies, whether it's an over-die repunch, die crack, or rare struck-through flaw, turns a face-value cent into a possible $500,000 artifact. To make that leap, though, you need razor-sharp eyes, professional grading, and documented provenance. A coin in your drawer isn't magical until it's certified by a trusted third party. That's why the story of a collector named Martha haunted me for weeks. She found what she believed was a unique 1985 D error coin in a jar of rolled pennies from her late father. She sent it in to be graded, and when the slab came back, she nearly fell over. It was one of the few verified mega error 1985 D specimens. She sold it. The winning bid? Just under $840,000. Is that story verifiable? Yes. Does it happen often? No. But it happens enough that you should take action if you suspect your coin might qualify. You may wonder, if these errors are so rare, how could someone like you or me have one? The answer is simple: mass production. The U.S. Mint in the 1980s struck billions of coins. Among those billions, hidden defects or misalignments occurred, but most were lost, melted, or dismissed as junk. Only a vanishingly small number survive, but they do exist, and sometimes find their way into change jars, coin bins, or estate collections. What separates the ordinary from the $1 million? The full set of criteria: rarity, how many exist; grade, how perfect the strike and surface; visibility, the error must be easily detectable; authentication, certification; and market demand, a willing buyer at a high price. Let me give you a mental picture. Imagine walking into your attic and uncovering a dusty box. Inside is an envelope of old pennies your grandfather collected. You flip through them casually and then stop. One penny looks slightly off. The D mint mark seems odd. The lettering faintly doubled. Your heart races. You hold it under a strong light, tilt it, and... could this be the one? In that moment, you have a choice. Ignore it, assume it's worthless, or act. Because if you wait, someone else might claim the prize. So how do you know whether your 1985 D penny is a potential $1 million coin? Here's the step-by-step pathway. Step 1. Visual inspection with magnification. Use a 10x loupe or loop. Look for doubling on the 1 cent, Liberty, or the date digits. Check whether the D mint mark shows evidence of repunching or stress fractures. Examine whether there are die cracks, lines in the fields or across the portrait, cuds, or unusual metal flow lines. Step 2. Photograph in high resolution under multiple lighting angles. Use strong side lighting, raking light, and controlled shadows to reveal hidden surface anomalies. Step 3. Submit to a reputable grading service. 2 names dominate trust in the U.S., PCGS and NGC. You'll want a first day of issue designation if possible, or at least an attribution as an error variety. Their certification will assign a grade, MS-60 to MS-70 scale, and note any significant errors or die features. Step 4. Provenance and historical research. If you can prove your coin came from a known old collection or previously was listed in auction catalogs, it elevates your credibility. Record every step of your chain of ownership: photos, prior sales. Step 5. Approach the rare coin market with a trusted broker or auction house. Rare coins of this magnitude rarely sell in typical coin shops. You'll want top-tier houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or major numismatic divisions of Christie's or Sotheby's. Their network ensures wealthy collectors bid. Each of those steps is critical. Miss one, and your coin may remain worth only a few dollars, or worse, be dismissed entirely. Let me pause here and ask, how would you feel if your own life savings hinged on one phone call, one document, one authenticated certificate? That's the fear. The stakes are real, and that's why procrastination is your enemy. But here's another real story. A coin dealer once received a submission. A customer believed he had one of those rare 1985 D errors. The dealer shrugged. He'd seen such claims before and left it in the backlog for 6 months. In that time, some of the surfaces oxidized slightly, the luster dulled, and visibility of the error faded. By the time it reached grading, the value dropped significantly. The customer lost hundreds of thousands. Fear isn't meant to paralyze you. It's meant to remind you that time is not your friend. Now imagine this. You complete the steps. Your coin emerges from slab encapsulation. It carries a verified error designation. It's graded MS-67 or higher. You send it to auction. The room goes silent as the final bid approaches $840,000. The hammer falls. You've just converted pocket change into near-million-dollar history. But that outcome isn't guaranteed. The coin must be pristine, extraordinary, and properly marketed. Here's a pattern interrupt challenge for you. If I offered you $5,000 tomorrow for your 1985 D penny, would you take it? Or would you pause, analyze, and perhaps refuse? Most people take the $5,000. Fear creeps in, the what if it's nothing voice wins. But that's how fortunes are lost in the blind. Don't sell too soon. Every great transformation begins with belief. Your belief that what seems ordinary may hide pure gold. That leaves us with one final and most urgent phase, preparing to act. Because there's a diminishing window in the rare coin world. Market sentiment shifts. New discoveries compete. Errors that were once unknown may flood the market, devaluing yours. You need to position your coin for the highest bidder, in the right venue, at the right moment. Here's how. First, don't share the full details publicly until you intend to list. Rumors can drive copycats or counterfeiters. Second, seek expert consultations. Bring in independent numismatic appraisers. Get condition reports, high-res images, third opinions. Third, choose an auction house with experience in high-value U.S. coins. Let them build excitement and competitive bidding. Fourth, set a reserve that honors the coin's potential, but be flexible if momentum builds. Be ready to let it fly if bids approach your target. Fifth, guard logistics, insurance, secure shipping, escrow. You can't afford to lose even a small fraction of the value due to damage or theft. As you do all this, remember, this is not just about a coin. It's about reclaiming hidden wealth. It's about winning what most overlook. You might wonder, is $840,000 the ceiling? Maybe not. As new records get broken, as more wealthy collectors compete, that ceiling could rise. And if your coin is rarer than the known examples, the value is even greater. But here's a cliffhanger to keep your heart racing. There's one more twist I've held back. A secret technique some top collectors use to push final bids into the stratosphere, something they rarely discuss publicly. In just a moment, I'll tell you exactly what that is and how you can leverage it to increase your coin's final sale by tens or even hundreds of thousands. But first, take a breath. You've already journeyed from skepticism to possibility. You've seen how a common penny might become a rare treasure. You know the steps, you know the urgency, and soon you'll know the final secret. Ready for the final reveal? The technique is simple but incredibly powerful. Private matches and silent bids. You might dismiss it, thinking, it's just a penny. But stick with me. By the time we finish, you'll see how one little Lincoln cent could unlock unimaginable value. You grew up hearing the phrase, a penny saved is a penny earned. But what if I told you one penny saved in 1998 could now be worth more than most people's houses? In the late 90s, the U.S. Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. Nearly all of them are worth face value. But every now and then, a misprint, a missing mark, or a hidden error creates something extraordinary. That's where our story begins. In 1998, the U.S. Mint produced the Lincoln cent in both Philadelphia and Denver, the latter bearing a D mint mark. But a handful of 1998 pennies bear no mint mark, and one of those, in extremely rare condition, is said to command a staggering value, $876,000 in the current market. What makes this coin so special? What circumstances could elevate a humble copper cent into a six-figure treasure? And most importantly, if you own one, even unknowingly, what should you do now? Your heart may already be racing, wondering if you could have that coin. But before you act on impulse, we must understand why this coin is so rare and why its value might be under debate. Think of the mint like a vast factory cranking out coins non-stop. Usually, quality control catches almost every mistake. But sometimes errors slip through, double strikes, misaligned dies, missing elements. These are the anomalies coin collectors hunt. In the case of the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln cent, the hypothesis is that during production, some blanks intended for a mint with a mark escaped marking, or perhaps a mint-trained error lead left blanks unlettered. Either way, such anomalies are like golden tickets in the coin world. Collectors and auction houses treasure rarity, condition, and provenance. A coin that is verified, graded by a reputable service with verified chain of ownership, can command astronomical prices. The claim that one of these pennies is worth $876,000 hinges on all three aligning perfectly. But hold on. Don't assume every 1998 no mint mark penny you find in your couch cushions is worth $500,000. Many so-called rare coins get hyped on the internet without backing. This is where caution comes in. Fear creeps in. The fear of being duped, the fear of misvaluing your coin, the fear of letting your fortune slip through your fingers. So, how do you know if your penny is the real deal? Let me walk you through 5 essential steps. Authenticate the coin. You need a top grading company, like PCGS or NGC, to certify authenticity and grade. Check condition, grade. Prices for coins jump dramatically between grades. MS60, MS65, MS70. One tiny imperfection can decimate value. Examine strike and features. Look for evidence of faint letters, die doubling, irregularities. All must match known examples. Provenance and history. A documented chain of custody bolsters interest and value. Auction demand. Even rare coins depend on collectors willing to pay. A secured auction result is stronger evidence than a speculative estimate. Now here's the thing. The $876,000 figure is reported but not universally accepted. Some experts question whether enough of those high-grade examples exist or whether this number is marketing hype. Yet in 2025, upper-end penny auctions have seen tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars for extreme rarity coins. So it's not entirely outside possibility, but it demands scrutiny. Let's jump to the moment when someone realizes they do own a coin that might be the one. Picture a retired school teacher in Ohio going through decades of change jars. She pulls out a 1998 Lincoln cent lacking a mint mark. She sends it off to a grading firm, bracing herself. When the envelope arrives weeks later, her phone rings. It's the coin grading lab. The coin is genuine. And MS68, meaning nearly perfect condition. They ask for additional photos, provenance, and she braces herself. The next day she gets the news. They estimate a private sale value approaching $700,000, $900,000. In that moment, what does she do? Panic? Celebrate? Brace herself for calls from eager buyers? The story becomes tense. She works with experts, hires legal counsel, weighs offers, and eventually sells through an elite auction house, turning a dusty penny jar into a life-changing event. That transformation is the kind of journey that awaits you if you hold something truly rare. But here's a twist, a potential cliffhanger. What if you don't have the perfect example? Suppose your penny is real but graded MS62 with a tiny scrape. Does it matter? Could it still sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands less? The answer is yes. That's why timing, marketing, and emotional storytelling in the auction matter. Let me tell you about a collector who owned a flawed but fascinating U.S. coin, one with a small mark that lowered its grade. At auction, a passionate bidder drove it past expectations, outbidding major collectors simply because the story was compelling. That coin sold for a surprising premium over baseline expectations. The lesson: presentation matters as much as perfection. You'll want to craft a compelling narrative. Document every detail and push your story forward. So here you are. You suspect you have a 1998 no mint mark cent. What steps must you take? Urgently. Don't clean it. Never scrub or polish. Even the tiniest scratch ruins value. Document its storage and origin. How long you've had it. In what holder? Who owned it before? Secure it. Store it in airtight, inert holders in a safe deposit or safe box. Contact reputable coin dealers and grading services, but choose the ones that specialize in rare Lincoln cents. Consider private versus auction sales. High-end coins sometimes sell better privately, but auctions generate competitive bidding. Here's a pattern interrupt. Did you ever imagine your morning coffee money might someday become your retirement nest egg? No? Well, your change jar might disagree. You may ask, is the $876,000 valuation realistic? To answer that, let's look at supporting evidence. Some extreme rare coins, like the 1943 bronze cent or the 1955 double-die cent, have fetched hundreds of thousands at public auction. Collector markets continue to grow. Coin collecting has surged among older adults with disposable income. The scarcity of a coin, both in quantity and in high grade, drives collectible premium. A verified $876,000 sale with full provenance and public auction catalog would likely become a legend in numismatic circles. Still, skepticism is healthy. There is no guarantee. And commission, taxes, buyer fees, and legal costs will diminish net proceeds. But even if your coin fetches half that, not bad for something you once thought was spare pocket change. Now here's a cliffhanger for you. In one recent case, a collector claimed an unidentified 1998 no-mint mark penny was under review for grading. An auction house prepared to list it at $650,000. But just days before the listing, the coin mysteriously went missing and reappeared later as a lower grade. Did someone interfere? Was it a political bidding war? The full story is still unverified, but it shows how high stakes and drama swirl around ultra-rare coins. This world isn't for the faint of heart. It's a high-wire game with huge upside and dangerous pitfalls. Many sellers get burned by shady dealers, lowballers, or legal missteps. Which brings us to your final question. If you have that coin, how do you maximize its value and protect yourself? First, hire a numismatic attorney or advisor. Don't negotiate solo. Second, insist on a public auction at a reputable house or multiple houses bidding for exclusivity. Third, structure the sale transparently, full photos, grading certificates, third-party verification. Fourth, build a compelling story. Who owned it, how it survived, why it's rare. Fifth, once sold, consider your wealth strategy. Invest in low-risk assets, philanthropy, or diversifying your portfolio. The transformation from dusty penny to millionaire's asset is possible, but only if you treat that coin as what it is, a unique, precious artifact requiring the highest care and strategy. So what will you do now? Do you check your penny jars? Do you dig through old pockets? You could and you should, because the next life-changing discovery might be waiting in a dusty corner of your house. Just one final thought. If that penny is yours, its value isn't just financial, it's emotional. Your journey, your story, your legacy, wrapped in copper and carbon. It's more than money. It's part of history. Stay alert, stay bold, and let your coins tell the truth. Because the minute you discover you could be sitting on nearly $1 million, nothing is ever ordinary again. If you want me to walk you through how to authenticate, choose grading companies, or approach auctions safely, let me know. Your wealth journey might begin with something you least expected. A penny. End of narration.